Hey, I'm Jake. I make RPG supplements and videos about RPGs. Currently, that's Pathfinder 2. I want to show you how you could play as a class that's in 5e in Pathfinder 2e, or PF2 as I call it. So at random I chose the Wildfire Druid. Main features of the Wildfire Druid in 5e. With the use of your wild shape, you can summon a fire pet that attacks enemies and teleports around the battlefield, leaving a small AoE of fire behind when it does. Also, fire spells. It's Wildfire Druids that fire. So I'll be taking this build from the very beginning, including ancestry selection, race, and skill selection to show you one idea of how this could be done. Actually, two ideas. I'll only be taking this to 5th level so you can see how to begin the character's journey. Plus, most people don't really play to level 15 or 20, so this is probably sufficient for you. You get spells like Burning Hands in both fire spells in both 5e and PF2, so the fire theme is about even the whole way along, for spells at least. So the first thing we're going to do is try to make a Wildfire Druid, with the emphasis on fire, that you could make in PF2. It seems like the natural way to make a Wildfire Druid in this system. Then we'll see how we can include the pet a little later on. Now, I know the theme is going to be a Druid female, so her name is Vespa. We're choosing a human ancestry and the Ifrit Heritage. It's a versatile heritage that can be applied to any main ancestry. By choosing it, you gain the Ifrit trait, which means you're descended from fire creatures. You look lava-like or fiery, so like Ifriti. You gain resistance to fire, and you treat environmental heat effects as if they were one step less severe. Now we're going to take our background. We're going with False Medium from Spirits of Magic. Secrets of Magic. There are people in this world who possess the ability to pierce the veil between the world of the living and the world of the dead, allowing them to communicate with spirits. You are not one of them. But you know enough about the occult, as well as cold reading tricks and various practices from local religions, to scam your way into people's coin purses. Unlike a through and through charlatan, there's some real occult methodology behind your flim-flam, but that's likely cold comfort to the people you swindle. Whether you decided to take a more righteous path, were caught and pledged to make it right, or still slip in a few seances between adventures, you've taken to an adventuring lifestyle as you move from place to place. This lets you choose 2 ability boosts. One has to be intelligence or charisma, and one is a free ability boost and will increase wisdom and intelligence because Druid. You increase an ability score in general by 2 when it says you get an ability boost. Unless it's already 18, then you increase it by 1. I gotta say, I really like the ability boost system. It's cool that it makes you feel powerful more quickly, plus it's fair. Everyone starts out with the same number of boosts. Also, what this background does is you're trained in the occultism skill. It's basically arcana, but only for like spirits and cults and dark magic. And the fortune-telling lore skill, which means you know how fortune-telling works and can make money doing it. You also gain the deceptive worship skill feat, which means you can use occultism instead of deception to impersonate a typical worshiper of another faith, or to lie specifically to claim you are a member of the faith you are impersonating. So we are a person who travels from town to town, putting on a big show, getting attention and money, and then moving on, hopefully before we get caught. We also might even pay people to spread rumors about us being wise or ancient, or that we saved someone's life or laid a ghost to rest or something. You'll use the fortune-telling lore skill for earning money, mostly. You probably have a huge variety of tools to use for this, including like a forked stick, a braided length of hair, white and black pebbles, runes, divination cards, star charts, bright candles, or whatever else you can think of. Palm reading comes to mind. It's easy to do anywhere. And we claim to be a part of any religion we see when we get to their town. Even talking up the greatness of the faith to any clergy members, making it seem like we're a really good and holy righteous person. At 1st level, everybody gets an ancestry feat, so we'll take the Ifrit feat Molten Wit. It gives you proficiency in Deception and the Charming Liar feat, which, if you're using the lie action and get 10 over the DC, target number, you improve their attitude by 1 step. So you are essentially using the Deception skill for diplomacy, and if we're trying to make a good impression as a member of their town clergy, we can use occultism instead of deception. So we use occultism instead of deception instead of diplomacy. So we're really good at making a first impression. 1st level Druid also gives you Druid skills, take whatever you want, but obviously we're taking occultism. There are more reasons later on too. We're choosing the Order of Flames, So we get training in acrobatics for free. And we get the feat Fire Lung. It says you breathe normally in ash and smoke, you can see through smoke, and it's easier to put yourself out if you're on fire. So much fire theme. This is good. You also gain the Wildfire Order spell, which you can cast basically every 10 minutes. It's from Secrets of Magic. It's got a range of 30 feet. It's a 10-foot burst. It lasts for up to 1 minute. You'd have to concentrate every round. It's called Sustain in this system. And it says, a thin layer of ash and flame covers the ground in the area. The area becomes hazardous terrain. A creature that moves on the ground through the area takes 1 fire damage for every square of that area it moves into. A creature that ends its turn in the area must succeed at a reflex save or take 1 persistent fire damage. Each round you sustain the spell, the radius of the burst increases by 5 feet. So it's like sort of their version of spike growth, but it's a spreading fire. It's cool. As part of your order, you have to allow natural fires to follow their course. You also have to keep unnatural fires from spreading. That's just the oath that you have to take to be part of the Flame Order. I kind of like the idea of making this character a druid because it's like nature is the only thing they hold as sacred and dear to their hearts. All the BS they say and do in town doesn't bother them because they don't really care about people. Nature is their temple. Which leads us to picking our 2nd level druid feat. We're going to choose Order Explorer. It's hard to say, which gives us a 1st level feat from another order. So we're going to pick the Wild Order for Wild Shape, which is totally a definitive druish thing, but we're taking it for another reason, which I'll get to in a minute. At 2nd level, you get a skill feat. That's a feat that uses a skill. We're choosing Psychometric Resonance. It says, with a touch, you can read the psychic impressions left on objects by their previous owners. You must brush your bare hands over any objects you pass while you do this. This detects objects with significant emotional resonance attached to them, such as the joy from a child's beloved teddy bear, the sorrow from a widower's wedding ring, or the fear from a victim's murder weapon. If you're looking for a particular type of emotional resonance, you can choose to ignore other emotions. If you find an item with that resonance, you can explore that resonance for more info. There's more details on how that works. The GM would lead you on it. And we're going to use this ability to prop up our spirit medium reputation. So you go into a person's house, and let's say like the wife is wanting to contact her dead husband. So you go in and touch all the objects in the house, hopefully the things that the husband touched, and you read about what this person was like while they were alive, and you use that information later during your seance to swindle their money out of them because you can't actually speak to spirits. You kind of have to be good at lying. It's fun. So at 2nd level, we can take a multiclass archetype Oracle Devotion. So most people play it with the optional multiclass archetype feat rule, which gives you a bonus feat every even level just for the purposes of an archetype, which is basically multiclassing light. That's how Pathfinder multiclasses. So you don't have to use your normal feat on it. So we're going to take the Ashes Mystery from Oracle. And what that says is, you see all things in the world as little more than fleeting and temporary, waiting to be purified into their base essence, the ash left behind after a burning fire. While you understand fire as a necessary part of this process, you see fire mostly as a tool to achieve final purity, not a goal. You might see ash as the only true representation of the impermanent nature of life and its pointless existence. Alternatively, you may see the benefit ash can have on soils and farmlands as part of a larger cycle of death and rebirth. There are other things that it lists that it could mean to you, but I like the combining of these last two. Nature as a whole is the only permanent thing in existence, and any damage or death you cause in the meantime is only adding to the refreshing of the natural cycle. So everything you do is okay. Alright, it's a little off, but I never said this character was stable. They practice fake seances. Although I guess this way of thinking actually means that they'd have to be lawful neutral, which is weird. Whatever. Do whatever alignment you want. You do you. Anyway, the ash mystery benefit is your flesh flows around physical threats like a cloud of ash. You gain resistance equal to half your level, minimum 1, against all physical damage, and you gain a +2 circumstance bonus to saves and DCs against grapple, shove, and forced movement. I can see this character working the Ashes ability into their seances to show an immaterialness of the material world, when really it's just like their flesh flowing around an object or ashes falling out of their clothing. That's what the curse gives you for being an oracle. A little bit later, I'll discuss the ashes. Real quick, if you want more videos on PF2 breakdowns, hit the subscribe button. It'll ensure you see my upcoming videos on ancestries and classes, and it'll help me know if I'm making good content, stuff you want to see. 3rd level, skill increase. We're going to choose occultism. Increase occultism to expert. You'll use it for like everything and more stuff that I'll get to in a minute. It gives you +2 to move to expert. So the general feat we're going to be taking is Aura Sight. It tells you a person's attitude toward you, their emotional state, and a general assessment of their physical health, which is great information to appear wise or insightful or to use later for a seance. Oh, I see your health wanes, my friend. May I see your palm? Ah, yes. You have an aching in your chest and exhaustion every day. I've just the thing for that, only $19.95. At 4th level, we will choose the Druid feat. We'll choose a Druid feat. This feat is why we took Order Explorer earlier, for the Wild Order to get Wild Shape, because it's a prerequisite for this. Humanoid form, so you can shapeshift into other people, so you can frame people for murder or burglarize their house. You also get a skill feat, so we'll take Crystal Healing. Normally, between combats, people in PF2 can use the medicine skill to heal up. This allows you to use occultism instead. Because of course we're using occultism for everything. Maybe a little bit of an optimizer. Use occultism to heal people between combats using rocks instead of the medicine skill. That's basically it. Like, I see an imbalance in your meridians. Here, see? The amethyst has turned dark. You appear to have something that does not belong to you. You should give it to me. You'll feel so much better. It's like the way of being a thief by being a druid. Alright, so 4th level we get another archetype feat. So, because it's every even level. So we'll get the first revelation feat for the Oracle archetype. It gives you the Ashen Wind spell, which you can use every 10 minutes too, if you like. In addition to the wildfire that you can use every 10 minutes. You conjure a swirling wind of ashes that blows through the area. Each creature in the area must attempt a fortitude save or get the cloying ash in its lungs. Which is interesting, because it says that you can breathe through ash because you have fire lungs, so does it really do anything to you? I don't think so. But it could be used for great dramatic effect. This, like, during your seances. Yeah, I can picture, like, blowing open a door with a huge wind of ash. This also advances your curse if you use it, so when you do, you get the minor curse of Oracle. The smoldering furnace of power within you begins to feed on your body and generate ash, which you inhale with every breath and leave behind with every step, impeding your footing. You take a -1 penalty on constitution-based checks, such as fortitude saves, and your speed is reduced by 10 feet. Yeah, I know, it's only bad, but think of the creep factor. Plus, later on we could enhance the curse even further to actually make it more combat useful. But I just picture at the end of the seance, like after you've used this spell during the seance, and you get up to depart, and you seem completely spent, and you're like shedding ash everywhere, and you walk away, kicking piles of ash with your feet that you're creating. It'll be so dramatic. Like, rumors could spread about you just from that, and then you get more customers. I mean, seekers of the truth. At 5th level, we can take our second ancestry feat. So we're going to go with the Ifrit feat Noble Resolve. It says, once genies ruled vast kingdoms, and a remnant of that confidence and power is reflected in your strong will. So if somebody tries to control your mind or affect your mind, you get a bonus to it, and you become aware of who did it as long as you can see them. It works for cases when somebody is trying to like pump you for information, like in a crowded room, or tries to charm you. This would also be an interesting encounter if this character that we're talking about is actually an NPC, and a PC tries to charm them in like a ballroom or something while there's a party going on, because that NPC will immediately know that they're trying to do that. That could cause havoc. Okay, overall, you can breathe normally in smoke, ash, and fire, see through smoke. You can survive in hot or radioactive areas better than other people. You resist fire, shed ash, your flesh flows around objects like ashes. You can create a wind of ash or a wildfire, and you more easily put yourself out if you're on fire. Oh, and you could flavor this last thing like, oh yes, fire is my friend. It has a sense of humor. It didn't really mean to hurt me. So all of that, though, is aside from this tricky huckster persona we have who cons people out of their money, buys fame and recognition, and doesn't care about living people one little bit. Okay, so like they care about the ego stroking and money they provide, but that's it. So now let's talk about how to get a pet, which means we are going to have to give up the Oracle and go Summoner. We'll still be keeping all the lying, cheating shenanigans as we move forward into Summoner. So at second level, instead of Oracle Devotion, we take Multiclassing Archetype Summoner Devotion, Beast Eidolon. So let's read what the book says about the Beast Eidolon. Your Eidolon is a manifestation of the life force of nature in the form of a powerful magical beast that often has animal features, possibly even several from different species. So you could even have it like have multiple heads if you want, because it's weird. You might have learned the way to connect with the world's life force via a specific philosophy or practice, or formed a bond on your own. Regardless, your link to your Eidolon allows you both to grow in power and influence to keep your home safe from those who would despoil it. Personally, I like the idea that our character here loves being in nature and has spent a lot of time in it, just like laying down in a field or sleeping next to a brook. They just find it as inner peace connecting with nature. Maybe they even started a wildfire that a forest area really actually needed, and then this beast spirit came to them and befriended them. The character may have even seen this spiritual movement as encouragement to keep thinking of humanoids, people who live in towns, as not important at all and keep treating them like trash. People do this kind of self-validating all the time, especially if they have an inkling that there's actually something wrong about that. Okay, so fourth level, we're going to enhance our multi-class archetype by spending that feat on the Summoner Initial Eidolon ability, which for the Beast Eidolon is Beast's Charge. So now it has the ability to charge an enemy for extra damage. You could flavor it like it has a rhino horn or antlers or whatever. Or, instead of the charge, we could take Energy Heart. So its attacks deal a type of damage you choose, which will be fire. And it also gets resistance to that element. So in combat, if you use fire, it'll be a little safer. Which seems like the best choice to make. Charge is an option, though. One thing as a final thought, I was thinking that we would eventually take the Oracle Curse way higher, like max it out, so eventually things just crumble to ash around us, giving everything within 10 feet of vulnerability to fire damage. That's awesome for a fire-based caster. We would have to take, obviously, the Oracle path that I discussed earlier in the video. I love this faithless, false medium lover of nature. You can do weird stuff. So you see, all in all, we can make a Wildfire Druid from 5e in PF2 with a few changes, and we have some really nifty abilities in addition, or we could use one of the many, many pages of options that PF2 provides to customize your character in a unique way. I gotta always say one thing. I love that the RP and story ideas that I had for this actually have mechanical impact on the game. That the GM doesn't have to just rule on separately or go with the rule of cool, because okay, sure, you can do that. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, or a thumbs down if you didn't, and let me know what kind of content y'all would like. Check my Patreon for some 5e supplements that are a little twisted, over 100 pages of free content, and a growing Discord community. And just so you know, your stomachs are constantly full of warm vomit. Just food for thought. It looks like our Caption contest is coming to a close, and the winner is Robert Arts Music with Country Roads, Take Me Home, because of course that's what Ellen was singing. Be sure to keep checking back for the next Caption contest. It'll be here on the community page.